So I don't have a lot of good beach stories because my siblings and I grew up with almost zero beach going experience. We were a really big family, so we didn't go on vacation very often. And our idea of a summer vacation was usually just like getting dropped off at my grandparents' house outside of Pittsburgh and causing mischief until they got sick of it and like had enough after 2 weeks, maybe at max. So we didn't go to the beach that much, but in my senior year of high school, my grandparents moved out of their house in Pittsburgh and moved into a condo in Florida. And it so happened that in March, mid-March of that senior year of high school, all of our teachers went on strike and we had like a couple of weeks with no school whatsoever, so it was a really good time for us to just take kind of an unplanned vacation. So our parents threw me and two of my younger brothers, Caleb and Noah, onto a plane and sent us down to the Sunshine State to visit Grandma and Grandpa. It was great. Like, it was really nice to see Grandma and Grandpa. We missed them. We hadn't seen them for a while. But it became readily apparent within the first day that their new condo had neither the size nor the activities to really accommodate three teenage boys with undiagnosed impulse control issues. So Grandma and Grandpa threw us into a car and then took the car to the beach and dropped us off at the beach for the day. And like I said, we had almost no beach going experience. So like right off the bat, we were off to a bad start because we completely botched the whole sunblock operation. Like, I had never really done it. So I completely failed to put any sunblock on my face. My younger brother, who was 13, just like left his entire back exposed all day on the beach. So we were all like thoroughly burned, and I had never had a sunburn before in my life. So we were one day into this trip, and we were thoroughly bored and thoroughly burned at this point as well. And that was when our cousin came to the rescue. So we had a cousin, his name was Michael. He lived not far from my grandparents, and he was like about 10 years older than me. So at this point in his life, he was what you'd call a grown-ass man. However, in his heyday, when he was closer to our age, he had displayed a propensity for mischief-making that could rival that of myself and my brothers. So we were like birds of a feather, really happy to get together with him and see him again. And he got us, like, threw us into the car, said, "Bye, Grandma, bye, Grandpa," and like put the cruise control at 100 miles per hour and took us on this whirlwind tour of the state of Florida. We canoed through the Everglades, we went to Walt Disney World, we went to Universal Studios, and eventually we settled down in this little quaint seaside town of Naples, Florida. Naples is the town where my cousin actually lived, and he worked. He had a job working at, it was kind of like an internship, apprenticeship, working at a Catholic diocese, and he also worked part-time, had some involvement in the school, like the private school that was associated with that diocese. And the school was going to be marching in the annual St. Patrick's Day parade. And my cousin had to be like involved and was helping to coordinate some of that, I guess. I didn't pay attention to that kind of stuff, administrative stuff. But like, because he was our only form of adult supervision, myself and my brothers also were going to have to march in this parade as well, which was a terrible idea. Because between the three of us, like, none of us had even a drop of Irish blood running through our veins. And we had even less of an appreciation or understanding of Irish culture, Irish heritage. Like, our understanding of Irish tradition was basically like 5% the movie Far and Away, starring Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise's terrible Irish accent, and 95% Lucky Charms commercials. So it was a mess from the start. So we put on these like huge green Notre Dame t-shirts that were like majorly oversized, these like green bead necklaces, and these like really thin black plastic bowler caps. And we just joined the St. Anne's Parish School, whatever it was called, in this parade, like marching along. And we just like owned it because we knew, like, unlike all the students around us, we knew that the thousands of onlookers who had gathered throughout this community, we were never going to see them again in our lives. So we took the leprechaun factor and like cranked it up to 11. Like, we were using this terrible Irish accent that we could really only maintain when we uttered phrases like "top of the morning to ya." So like all we said was like stuff like "top of the morning to ya," and we did this like weird sort of jig thing where we like connected our arms and like kind of convulsed our legs, and it probably looked like nothing to an onlooker. And we also composed this like what we considered what we viewed as an Irish drinking tune. It had 10 words. It was really poorly composed. It was just, "It's Patrick's Day, Patrick's Way. sing a song Patrick's Way. So we rhymed Patrick's Way with Patrick's Way. So it was really badly written, but it was kind of catchy when you'd sing it. We would sing it like this, and we would always sing it in unison. We would like pause and sing it together, and we would be like, it's Patrick's Day, Patrick's Way, sing a song Patrick's Way, and we'd like, tip the bowler cap. So this was like reckless abandon, and again, thousands of people in attendance. So at a certain point, the kids around us who were attending this thing, probably not of their own volition, it was probably like a mandatory school function, they just sort of like kind of conveniently found their way behind us and like got out of the way. And before we knew it, we were in the front of this entire school group marching through the parade. The problem was the St. Anne's Catholic School was also at the very front of the Naples, Florida St. Patrick's Day parade. So we were in the very front of an entire St. Patrick's Day parade. So here's what I like to imagine when I think about that day. I picture an unsuspecting, innocent bystander, community participant who just wanted to come and view the event. They're standing on the sidewalk. They're just waiting for the parade to come around the bend. They got there early. They wanted a good spot. And they're hearing the shuffling of feet, and they're hearing the distant clatterings of a marching band. And then the first sound that they hear crisply before anything comes around the bend is, it's Patrick's Day, Patrick's Way, sing a song Patrick's Way. And then these three idiots in giant green t-shirts and plastic bowler caps come bounding around the bend. What I can't believe about this whole experience is that we led an entire St. Patrick's Day parade, and the only Irish thing about us was our sunburns.